Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make real homemade puff pastry. Making puff pastry at home seems pretty hard, but once you get the idea, it's pretty straightforward and it doesn't seem too hard. So let's get started. So if you want to actually cheat, you can just buy store-bought frozen puff pastry. But everybody knows homemade is always better because you use real butter, real ingredients, no artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives, and no tons of extra ingredients that you probably can't even pronounce. So if you would like your homemade desserts to taste the best they possibly can, making puff pastry at home is the way to go. So here are all the ingredients that you're going to need. Some flour in 2 separate measurements. Salt, ice cold water, this hasn't been measured yet, it's just a cup of ice water right now, and cold butter. So now let's get started making it. So we're going to start off in a large bowl, add in the larger amount of flour, and add in the salt, and then just mix them until they're combined. And then take 4 tablespoons of the butter and cut it into small cubes. And then add it into the flour mixture. And use your fingers to press and rub it into the flour until the mixture is about the consistency of breadcrumbs. And you want a consistency somewhat like this, where there's no more large chunks of butter. And then with the remaining butter, cut it into pieces. And then just set it aside for now to let it soften a bit. Then measure out 3/4 of a cup of the ice water. And add it into the flour mixture. And mix it until it's combined. And if the dough seems quite dry, slowly add in the remaining water just until it comes together into a dough. You may not need all of the water, or you may need a little more. You should have something like this. It shouldn't be too soft and it shouldn't be too dry either. Then next you need to lightly flour the work surface. Place the dough onto the floured work surface. And then knead it for 2 minutes until it's smooth. And if it's sticking to the work surface, just add a little more flour. Once it's a smooth ball, flatten it into a disc. Then wrap the dough in plastic wrap. And then refrigerate it for at least 30 minutes until it's cold and firm. Then next, the remaining butter should still be quite cold and firm, but it shouldn't be too hard. So then add it into a medium bowl, along with the smaller amount of flour. And then mix them until they're combined. I find it easiest to use an electric mixer. And then add this mixture into a loaf pan that's been lined with plastic wrap. And then fold the plastic wrap over on top of it. And then press it down until it covers the bottom of the pan. Then take it out of the pan. And then place this into the fridge for 30 minutes until it's firm again. And then once the dough is nice and chilled, you can remove it from the fridge. And lightly flour the work surface. Then unwrap the dough and place it onto the floured surface. Add a little flour to the top of the dough. And then you need to roll it out until it's about 14 inches long and 12 inches wide. And then after it's 12 by 14 inches, remove the butter block from the fridge and unwrap it. And place it on top of the rolled out dough. Then fold in each end. If there's excess flour on the dough, you need to brush it off because that will prevent flaky layers from forming in the puff pastry. And then fold in the top and the bottom. And again, brush off the excess flour. And then seal the dough together. And flip it over. If the dough is still cold at this point, you can proceed to the next step. If not, wrap it in plastic wrap and put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. And at this stage, the butter shouldn't be too hard or too soft. If the butter is too hard, it will break into pieces and it will miss some flaky layers in the puff pastry. If it's too soft, the butter will absorb into the dough and it won't form any flaky layers at all. So if the butter is too soft, wrap it in plastic wrap and put it in the fridge to chill. If it's too hard, let the dough sit to let the butter soften a bit. The butter should be cold but slightly soft and pliable. So add a little more flour to the work surface. To get it started, press the rolling pin on top and rock it back and forth. And do that a few more times. And then roll it out until it's a 20 by 10 inch rectangle, trying to keep the thickness even and the sides straight. Then next you need to fold it. Fold one end 2/3 of the way across, and then the other end fold on top of that. And again, brush off excess flour. So this is called turning the dough. It's just rolling it out and folding it. So this is one turn, and you need to repeat this same folding for 7 total times. So if you have trouble keeping count, use your finger to make 1 indent on top. Make 2 for the second turn, and so on. And it's important to chill the dough between every turn. So wrap it in plastic wrap, and you need to place it into the fridge for 30 minutes. Chilling the dough between turns is super important for 2 reasons. It keeps the butter cold so it doesn't get too soft and hard to work with, and so it doesn't absorb into the dough. And it's to let the gluten in the dough relax so it's easier to roll out. So now just place it into the fridge for 30 minutes and then we'll go on to the next turn. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes and now remove the chilled dough from the fridge and place it onto a lightly floured work surface. Lightly flour the top of the dough and then roll it out into a 10 by 20 inch rectangle. And then fold it again the same way as before. Brush off the excess flour. And that's the second turn, so now make 2 indents with your finger. This just helps you to keep track of how many turns it has gone through already. If you rolled it out pretty quickly and the dough is still really cold, you can do another turn. Now that this is the third turn, make 3 indents with your finger. So now don't do more than 2 turns at a time. Only do 1 or 2 turns and then wrap it back up and put it back in the fridge for 30 minutes. And just put this back in the fridge for another 30 minutes. And then you need to repeat that same rolling and folding process until you do it a total of 7 times. Only doing 1 or 2 turns and then chilling it after that. If at any point you're rolling it out and the dough is getting soft and you can see the butter coming through, then you need to wrap it back up and put it back in the fridge to let it chill. And if it's rolled out really big, then fold it up. Again, it's very important that the butter stays cold. And then once it's chilled, just remove it from the fridge and continue rolling it out. Okay, and now this is the 7th and final fold. And now you need to refrigerate this for at least an hour before you roll it out and use it in a recipe. And there you go, that's how to make real homemade puff pastry. And I'm going to be posting a few videos showing how to use this puff pastry, but use it in any way that you like. And also, if you would like an easier puff pastry video, I'll be posting a video on that soon. This will last in the fridge for a couple days, or you can freeze it for up to 2 months. This makes about 2.5 pounds of puff pastry, so if you like, you can divide it into 3 pieces and freeze them separately, and just thaw it in the fridge overnight before you use it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, give this video a like, and check out my channel for many more videos, and subscribe to my channel for more to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.